Okay. Well, welcome everyone to the Soul Center, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Dharma Recovery Global Meeting, whole world. Um, it's good to see you all here, and I'm still glad we're on the topic of patience. And it's funny because um, I always say it's always funny. I always think, what am I going to talk about? And I never know until like the weekend comes, and then it starts getting in my head. What is striking me? And what strikes me now with patience and with suffering, covering it up, with patience and with suffering is my inner critic and the story that I'm told. That and it I'm told maybe not even by the people in my life, but if I at all watch TV or listen to the radio or talk to people at work, there's this story of what I'm supposed to be successful. And it sometimes it's even like in the recovery community or in the Buddhist community, like certain things, what I need to be successful. And the reason why I'm saying successful is um, because it's not been good for my practice in recovery and my practice in Buddhism. It's not been good for it. And it's also not true. It's a story, right? Uh, so if I sit down and watch TV will say, if I'm really successful, if I've really done well, I have this big ass house, right? This really fast car, right? I have this woman that looks like a Barbie doll. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. and and I have lots of money, and I'm traveling, and I wear shirts with crocodiles on them, our all black suit. Uh, Everybody loves me and is in awe of me, and I'm in total power. And this is what I see is spelled out, right? I just watched a television show, and these folks were wealthy. I'm like, this isn't only first world problems. They were worried about losing their summer house. And then, the solution was to sell their house in Boston, their extra house in Boston, so they could afford to keep their summer house. I go, this isn't just first world problems. This is wealthy first world problems. But I watch this, I feel like this is the standard I'm taught. It's like I want all these things not because I want to be powerful and not because I want to be rich, and just because I want to be accepted. And it's not the way I want to live my life. Acceptance by other people has not been it for me. And it goes farther than that. So I went into Buddhism, and I flirted with Buddhism for a decade, and I've been practicing Buddhism, mostly on, actually, sincerely for over 20 years now. And I started flirting 30 years ago. And my idea is I would be enlightened by now. It's Buddha was enlightened in his 30s, right? My idea is I'd be like, you'd all be sitting here, and I wouldn't need this chair because I'd be floating in the air, of course, right? And I would be able to sit in a perfect lotus position because somehow I'd get that flexibility from doing all that meditation. And I would have an understanding of the universe no one else would have, and everyone would. I had this weird idea, and none of it was true, right? I love, a lot of Julia's statements make a lot of sense to me. And practice makes practice. It's like all this time meditating, so I'm like, okay, we've been meditating for 30 years. What do I do now? Well, I meditate. I just keep meditating. I still get angry in my car. I still want to, I still am a grump. I still have opinions which may not be told, which are irrational. I still have delusional thoughts, right? My recovery, I still struggle with some of my food. I've given up a lot of different foods. I'm not near the peak weight I was at, but I'm not where I want to be. And did you hear that? That whole judgment of where I'm supposed to be, right? I'm practicing my recovery. Things are happening at a pace that I've practiced my recovery at, but it's not good enough. and it requires a lot of patience. So if I look at the level of patience it requires with my process addiction, my eating addiction, right? My most difficult addiction. You know, I quit smoking marijuana, I quit smoking cigarettes, I quit drinking, I quit speed, right? I'm not saying it was easy. It was hard, but this is just hard. And then so I go, okay, when did I start being a compulsive overeater? At 2 years of age is when I started gaining weight, out of control. And of course, there's just a lot of trauma attached to that. Of course, I've been to counseling and I've been meditating and I've read all these self-help books, so I'm supposed to be cured from that trauma by now and not have it impact my life at all. But it doesn't work that way because it's like bricks in my life. Part of how I form my world right now is that trauma's kind of twined into there. And it can be beautiful if I let it be. So when I think of patience and the patience I need with myself it involves a whole revision of where I'm supposed to be. So I'm middle class. I have a house about a mile away from here in a neighborhood that's up and coming but still struggles. And I have a job and I'm not anything like the people I see on TV. You know those shows, I'm a teacher in a drug treatment center. You know those shows like Stand and Deliver and all those shows where the teacher just gets tough and just, you know, within a couple months all the kids are just like cured. I'm trying to live up to that standard and this doesn't happen that way. It's just a slow process. I live in the real world. So my patience, the development of my patience is to let go of that story. One day I was flying a kite by the Spokane River, and it's a very peaceful, meditative activity for me to fly kites. And Spokane's not a great place to do it, but that was a good day to fly kites. And I'm sitting there and I thought, if everyone else died, would all this meditation, would all this stuff that I do for my spiritual well-being to take care of myself, would it still be worth it if there weren't other people? And I decided it would be. Now, Sangha is important. I'm not going to have well-being without Sangha, without the people I have in my life. I'm not, humans are not designed to do it on their own, myself included. And I decided that I don't have to live to anyone else's standard. Taking care of myself and living in this world and helping those people around me will be enough. So that's been the real fight for me, is deprogramming myself of that story, seeing my recovery for what it really is, my Buddhism for what it really is, my job as it really is, my writing as it really is, and not to criticize myself, not to have that inner critic say, you know, you've never published a novel. You didn't go down to 154 pounds and remain that weight for your whole life. You don't live in a mansion. No, I don't do any of those things. And it makes me sad in a happy way to say that. Because it gives me a chance to just reframe my whole life and to be patient with my process and see what has happened and see what I've moved through. All of us, we have this life, and I think we put it together like maybe a dance or a symphony. And a lot of people who are around us will get to witness moments of it, but we're there for the whole thing. And yeah, to be patient with that and to enjoy the beauty that's real, that's really there, not having to be something that we deem important, that we deem worthy, that we're worthy just the way we are. to have that level of patience to know it's worth it without all those weird rewards. I think that's amazing. I spent a lot of time talking because I feel like it's hard to explain what I'm thinking. Well, I think I got a good way of doing it. I have a meditation. It's Tame Your Inner Critic, and I stole it from a healthcare facility, so I think we're good. I love stealing meditations, so so get comfortable. To start this mindfulness practice, begin focusing on breathing. Notice the physical sensation of breathing in and then breathing out. As best as you're able, find yourself a posture of ease and strength. However you're feeling right now, let things alone for these next few moments. Your attention wanders, and then coming back to breathing in and breathing out. For many of us, this is already enough to bring self-judgment to mind. You may immediately start thinking, I'm not very good at this, or I should do this more often, or countless other ways judgment finds its way into our lives. If nothing has come to mind related to judgment, that's great. But for this brief practice today, reflect on somewhere in your life that you do feel judged. Around school or work, as a parent, a friend, or child, or maybe in something that happened in your life recently. Let's take a few moments to find that. Notice first how judgment is more than a single thought. It may affect how you feel, with tension or unease somewhere in your body. It may influence your emotional state. And notice where your thoughts go when experiencing this kind of self-criticism, and the patterns you fall into under this kind of stress. Now, for the next few minutes, practice letting that voice of judgment, that inner critic, alone. Stop wrestling with it, or appeasing it, or pushing it away. Label it if you like, judgment, or even give it a specific name if you prefer. Recognize what judgment feels like to you, and then let it be. On each in-breath as you sit, acknowledge whatever you're experiencing right now in your body, in your emotions, in your thoughts. Nothing to fix or change. This is what's going on right now. On each out-breath, offer yourself relief. Wish yourself what you would with a close friend if they had the same doubts. Set an intention in an unforced way. Breathing out, wishing yourself relief, or strength, or humor, or joy, or anything else that feels appropriate now. Breathing in, this is how things are. And breathing out, focusing on ease, or whatever else comes to mind. Again, wherever your mind is gone, on the next in-breath, noticing and guiding your attention. Recognize whatever is going on for you. And on the out-breath, picture an intention without strain for yourself. Wishing yourself well, not because you deserve it more than anyone else, but because you deserve it as much as anyone else. Breathing in, paying attention, and breathing out, letting go. Instead of wrestling with your inner heckler and trying to convince yourself we're fine, we can develop awareness that it represents little more than a less than helpful habit. Use this practice at any time during the day you catch yourself caught up in self-judgment, and focus somewhere more useful instead. As one of my Buddhist teachers taught me, they would tell me, remember, you are the most important person in the world. When I would argue with that, they would say, well, why is someone else more important? Breathe in. Breathe out. Namaste. Okay, thank you, Julia. Okay, prepare for a dedication of merit. May all places be held sacred. May all beings be cherished. May all injustices of oppression and devaluation be fully righted, remedied, and healed. May all who are captured by hatred be freed to the love that is their birthright. May all who are bound by fear discover the safety of understanding. May all who are weighed down by grief be given over to the joy of being. May all who are lost in delusion find a home on the path of wisdom. May all wounds to forest, rivers, deserts, oceans, all wounds to Mother Earth be lovingly restored to bountiful health. May all beings everywhere delight in whale song, bird song, and blue sky. May all beings abide in peace and well-being, awaken and be free. Namaste.